What's good, guys? Welcome back to CRIMETOBER Day 8. As always, guys, we thank you for tuning in for another episode. Today's episode will focus on 19-year-old LaQuanta Riley. LaQuanta went missing on December 7th of 2003 in Montgomery, Alabama. That was the last time anyone has ever seen LaQuanta. Now, her story makes me sad because as someone who went to school for forensic science, I can only imagine the joy that LaQuanta felt. LaQuanta was truly a whiz kid. She had a scholarship for college, which was a full ride, and she was majoring in forensic science / criminal justice. And as always, in some of these cases, I have never heard about LaQuanta. Although I may have only been 13 at the time of her disappearance, it's still very baffling to know that, there's just some cases that you never heard about, and that sometimes there's really not a lot to go off of. But nonetheless, we will always report on those cases regardless of how much information there is. Now, LaQuanta was known to be a very vibrant young lady. Her mother had her as a teenager, and her aunt stepped in to also take care of her. But that didn't stop LaQuanta for wanting to chase her dreams and to truly focus on her future and the bigger picture of life. And it has been stated that LaQuanta would not run away. So this is very unlike her to go missing. So in the fall of 2003, LaQuanta was living in an apartment in Eufaula, Alabama. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Your girl even tried to look it up, but I just could not get the wording. So I will post it so you guys can see it. Don't beat me up in the comments. But nonetheless, she was staying in this part of Alabama with a roommate, and it had been stated that she went back to this apartment on December 5th to retrieve her things, and something must have turned her mood upside down because she phoned her mother to come and get her so that way she can go to Montgomery, Alabama, where she resided. But her mother could not come and get her. And although her mother was a teenage mom, LaQuanta and her mom still had a good relationship regardless of who raised who. When LaQuanta's mother couldn't come and get her, she called other people for help. This is when she ended up staying with her aunt in Montgomery, Alabama. 2 days later, around 11:30 p.m., LaQuanta left outside her house and got into a four-door green vehicle. It is said to be a Ford Taurus or a Chevy Roulette Caprice. About 3 miles away from where she went to her mother's house, and her brother opened the door so that way she could retrieve a jacket. Now, when she got there, her brother did not recognize the vehicle or the person inside this car, and so he asked LaQuanta who that was, and LaQuanta stated back that it's just some guy in the neighborhood who offered to assist her getting to her mother's house. Now, that would raise an eyebrow for me as a sibling, but the thing about it is LaQuanta left her purse and keys behind, and that was the last time anyone had ever seen LaQuanta. 3 days later from this incident of LaQuanta getting into this green vehicle, her family reports her missing. But what is even more crazier in this case is that LaQuanta's mother states that there was a voicemail left on the answer machine, and it was kind of very descriptive, but her mother knew that it was her because the person on the other side of this voicemail, she heard a man's voice say LaQuanta's name, but the woman speaking either was saying, so the female's voice, which is said to be LaQuanta, was either saying, leave me alone, or let me go home on this voicemail. And like I said, someone of a male voice also was stating LaQuanta's name on this voicemail as well. The thing about that voicemail, it was never traced, and there could have been a possible lead in this disappearance. So then investigators get kind of like a lead in the case. They noticed that LaQuanta's name has been used for an apartment in Stone Mountain, Georgia. So what happens? Her mother follows this lead and starts to, knock on doors. And a person does say that he did recognize LaQuanta's photo, but she had ended up moving out of the apartment. The person does state that he's seen her because he let LaQuanta use his phone because it had appeared that she was in an argument and needed to use the phone. And that's crazy because what if that was the decipher voicemail left on her mother's, phone? It could. But after that, the case went cold. There has not been any new information to turn up on the disappearance of LaQuanta. And it's truly sad because where is she? Someone has to know something regarding her disappearance. At the time of her disappearance, LaQuanta stood at 5 feet 8 inches, weighing around 200 pounds. She is listed as having black to brown hair with brown eyes. Now, she does have 2 piercings in her ears and 1 in her tongue. She has 2 noticeable tattoos, one stating "Rest in Peace, Misha," and then on the other arm, her name. Now, she also goes by the nicknames Quanta or Quanta, and that is pretty much all the information that I have seen regarding her disappearance. As always, we try to share whatever we find because you just truly never know what can turn up regarding these disappearances. And it's truly sad. I say that all the time, guys, but I really mean it because it just makes you wonder, like, where is she? What happened to her, on that night when she made that call? It's truly a mother's worst fear, anybody's worst fear, to hear a voicemail like that and then you don't know where your kid is. You have no trace of them at all whatsoever. Well, that is the story of 19-year-old LaQuanta Riley. She is still missing and has been missing since December 7th of 2003. If you have any information, all links will be down below so you can report it. As always, guys, sending her family love and light, and I'm praying new information turns up regarding her disappearance. So tomorrow's episode, guys, I'll see you.